What's up, guys? Phoenix here. This video we're going to be talking about a new Aroma support card coming out in Invasion of Venom, the pack that comes out after the Dark Illusions, which means we should be getting it somewhere around October, November range. Yeah, that sounds about right. We get Dark Illusion in August, so yeah, that's definitely when we should be getting this card. But this is a new Aroma support card, and it's actually really good, and it's exactly what the deck needed, and it honestly is a card that should have been released with the original wave of Aroma support cards, which was like, geez, like Cross Souls? Because I think that was when that was. Like, we were like deep in Necros and Towers Turbo format at that point. So like, yeah, Cross Souls is when I want to say that the original Aromage like deck came out. And if this had come out with that, the deck could have potentially have been something in this entire time, where there was like almost like nothing, where like the deck had good matchups against certain things and stuff like that. Like, that deck could have actually been something if this card had existed before now. But unfortunately it hasn't. But this card is absolutely amazing in terms of it does like a very, very large amount of things for the deck in itself. But anyway, I'm just going to read what the card does and then explain from there. Aromaseraphy, Angelica. Level 1 plant tuner. Very important, it's a tuner. Effect monster with 0 attack, 0 defense. And its effect is during either player's turn, you can discard this card. Then target one Aroma monster in your graveyard. Gain life points equal to its attack. When this card is in your graveyard, if your life points are higher than your opponent's and you control an Aroma monster, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use each effect of Aromaseraphy Angelica once per turn. So, let's review. This card allows you to discard this card from your hand and then target an Aroma in your graveyard and gain life points equal to its attack during either player's turn. Meaning, if you don't have something like the trap card that lets you gain life during your opponent's turn to trigger your effects that like let you bounce stuff or whatever. I can't remember what exactly all the Aroma cards do, but I know there's like one that's a bouncer, one that's a traditional normal summon, one that draws cards, stuff like that. If you don't have the trap card, you can actually use this in its place. And I believe this is more searchable than the trap is. I don't think you can actually search the trap, but I believe you can search this. Because this, you can have a card that searches Aroma cards. One of the trap cards does. It's like you lower by 1,000 and you add an Aroma card. Sounds correct, but still, like you can search this card during your opponent's turn, or you can search this card, and then during your opponent's turn you can actually discard, trigger one of your Aromas if your traps aren't able to, and like you can still just do things. There's no stipulation on whether or not your life points are higher than your opponent's or not in order to activate this first effect, which is very key. But the fact that its first effect just automatically fuels its way into its second effect is actually really good. Much like most plant tuners that we have that are any good, this card has a form of graveyard recursion effect. And this one has one! Woo! This one's literally like Quillbolt Hedgehog for Aromas. And it's a tuner. Really good. But while this card's in your graveyard, if your life points are higher than your opponent and you control an Aroma monster, it's almost like this card's first effect discards it, which puts it into the graveyard, and also increases your life points, which means you might be higher than your opponent. Seems very logical to think that, right? I mean, like, this card definitely just allows you to increase the amount of life point gain that you can get. It increases the amount that you can gain per turn, because there's been like a hard capped ceiling on what the Aroma deck can actually gain per turn. It's like you get 500 from the field spell. I think you get like 500 from each of the traps. And that's like it. There's like not really anything else that you can actually gain. I think like the max you can gain a turn is like 2,000 or something, reasonably. Whereas this allows you to actually target things in your graveyard and gain, around 1,500 off of one effect. And then it fuels itself in that it puts itself in the graveyard to be revived, but also you just discarded it and increased your life points, thus potentially, very likely, throwing yourself above what your opponent had. So, you can very easily just like get into multiple like different synchro plays. It opens up this deck's actual option pool by a lot by allowing extra deck accessibility outside of you running cards like Dandelion, Globe Bulb, Spore. But you should probably be running those cards anyway, because now the Aroma deck could probably turn into a plant synchro hybrid, especially since like Debris Dragon is actually at multiple copies as well. It's back to 2 on the ban list. So like you could actually probably just play Aroma Plant Synchro, and the Aroma deck itself, the Aroma archetype, being the first like actual like plant archetype that can work with plant synchro outside of Sylvan. Sylvans and Aroma are like the first actual like full-fledged plant archetypes that can actually be meshed with plant synchro elements and actually work well. And because of the way the Aroma deck operates, you can very much just splash the plant synchro engine into the deck and actually probably have a very, very well and very goodly functioning deck, and actually have just a lot of options at your disposal. That's something I'm very curious as to trying out. But this card does so much. Aromaseraphy Angelica just does so much for the deck, and the access and the ability, like, just to be able to lone fire into another level 1 tuner that can get itself back from grave is absolutely great. Like, the fact that Glow Bulb and Spore, you don't have to rely as heavily on them, it's very good as well. Like, you have so many different potential options with this card, opening up your extra deck options. You can make Omega and put this card back into your graveyard. It doesn't have a once per duel restriction. It just banishes itself. Come on now. You can make Cypher and Lord Omega and just keep putting it back into your graveyard, which further fuels your option pool. I'm really liking the ideas that are just sparking in my head about what we can do with aromas. I'm really liking that. I'm really liking the potential options that the deck could go down, and I want to play around with it a lot. I definitely want to play around with it a lot, because Plant Synchro has always been one of my favorite eras of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it was literally just like the deck could do almost anything for its time, and I think that that capability can be very much adapted to this format, I believe. But anyway, I want to know what you guys think about this card in the comments down below. This card's great, in my opinion. I love this card. It does so much. It does everything that the Aroma deck needed for a card like this to do. It's a tuner. It revives itself. In the process of putting itself where it needs to revive from, it, one, helps you fulfill its condition for revival, and also just gives you something on your opponent's turn that allows you to have an extra card to trigger your Aroma cards that are on board on your opponent's turn. Because, like I said, Dried Winds, I can't remember what the other trap is. There's 2 traps. There's Dried Winds, and then there's the Searcher one. I can't remember what the Searcher one is called, but I don't believe they're searchable. Whereas this card is an Aroma card, thus making it searchable. So, there is that, and there is that key factor. But other than that, I want to know what you guys think, as I've already said. Let this card in the comments down below. But other than that, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to all the nonsense you usually do. Links are in the description to my Facebook and Twitch links if you want to check those out. That is what they are there for. I wouldn't put them there if I didn't want you to use them in some way, shape, or form or capacity. Just don't talk to me about, just don't post on my Facebook wall, my personal Facebook wall, about Yu-Gi-Oh! If you want to post something, either send me a message or go to my Facebook fan page. It's very plain, very simple. I've had to unfriend quite a few people recently because they'll just keep posting Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff on my personal wall where I do not want it there. I have a completely separate page for that for a very, very valid reason, but nobody wants to actually acknowledge that. But other than that, that's it for this video. Again, for the 3rd time, let me know what you guys think about this card in the comments down below. If I missed anything, definitely let me know. Leave it down in the comments because I like to spark discussion and potentially just know things I didn't know when I made this video. So other than that, that's it for this video. And as always, guys, take care.